I don't expect you to trust me outright. You need proof of my honest intentions.
In my experience, the surest way to a woman's heart is with a gift. A priceless gift. I won't return to King's Landing until I have that for you.
Hello and welcome to The Big Question about Game of Thrones Season 7. I'm Andy Hartup and I'm joined by Louise Blaine.
Hello.
And the big question from this week's episode, which is episode 1, Dragonstone, is what gift is Euron going to give Cersei for a wedding present?
Well, that was the very interesting question that appeared closer to the end of our first episode of Season 7. We have Cersei sitting in the throne room and we have Euron Greyjoy waltzing in. What can Cersei possibly want in all the world? She's got the power, but what now does she need? And that's quite intriguing.
I think it's what she wants, and she wants Tyrion. Like, the most obvious one is Tyrion. There's a few possibilities, but her brother, she desperately wants that. In the scene before, when she was chatting to Jaime over the map, she basically berated Jaime and said, yeah, your brother who you love so much and let go and who killed our son, yeah, she wants her revenge.
And our father.
Yeah. She's desperate for that. So that would be the ultimate gift that Euron can bring. And I think, narratively, I think that would be the smartest move for them, because imagine the family drama that would create if Euron turns up with Tyrion and all the Lannisters are back together and there's all these plots and scheming between them and big speeches about revenge. I just think it would be a huge moment in Thrones. And, you know, it'd be a great loss for Daenerys as well, wouldn't it?
Massively. If you think about it, she's coming to an alien environment. She's never been in King's Landing. He knows King's Landing. This is his sister. This is his brother. This is where he waged war with the Dragonfire against an armada already. He has fought on the other side of this. So for her to come in to this without him, if she disappears, she's put a lot of stake in him. She stuck that badge on him, said, right, you're the one. He's the one not because he's been nice to her or because, you know, he has been loyal to her, but he's the one because he has the knowledge. He has that expertise that she doesn't have. And if she doesn't have that, and she doesn't have Jorah Mormont anymore, we saw his scaly arm, she doesn't have any of that. And he is the one that can help her there. And I think her losing that would really, the game would shift again. The balance of power would immediately shift just in who has who. Mm-hmm. And how Euron will get Tyrion is another question.
It's a big question, that. You know, Tyrion's fairly easy to kidnap, but he is at the heart of Daenerys' court, and she's got some big armies behind her, so I don't know how Euron's going to get his hands on him. Now, one of the other things which is quite interesting is tied into, it's mainly in the books, but it has been mentioned in the show, that there was a prophecy that Cersei was given that all 3 of her children would die, and she would be killed by her little brother. Which could be Tyrion. Some people have suggested it might be Jaime, and still 50-50 on that. But if Tyrion is captured and brought to King's Landing, that means that the possibility for him killing her is ripe and fulfilling the prophecy. Like, the rest of it's come true, so I don't see why they'd leave that out. It just adds like another potential dynamic to it, and just makes it a little bit more likely. Now, one of the other potential gifts that Euron could be talking about comes from like a load of leaked photos and footage from the set, which suggests that it could be Yara Theon and Ilaria Sand who's in charge of the Dornish. That would be a reasonable gift, not quite up to Tyrion standards, but it's a bit more realistic, right?
Yeah, like Cersei, I'm sure Cersei would very much like that, and it also shows off Euron's power. It shows what he can do. It's a very good exercise in, hey, if I can do this, I can give you more. I don't think she'd be as impressed. If I was Cersei, I wouldn't be that impressed. I'd be like, I wanted Tyrion, but it's a good start, and I guess it would be a nice offering. Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking about this like Christmas gift. Lovely, you know, just here's all these enemies for you, and if it is supported by those leaked set photos. But the thing is, we can always misread set photos.
Of course,
we can look at those, and, you know, those could be from later on. They could come in as guests, you know, they could be invited, there could be discussions going on, sort of peaceful discussions, not that Cersei's very good at those, but there could be other ways to assess those those pictures. The sensible option is that, but then there can always be different ways.
Yeah, the early trailers have suggested that there's going to be a big battle at sea. We've seen glimpses of that. Yeah. And we've seen Yara and Theon both in what appear to be captive roles. They seem to be sort of tied up. And we've seen Euron sort of slashing away and going mad at sea. So the sensible suggestion would be that they at least get captured. Now, whether or not they'd make it to King's Landing, or whether Euron would just say, well, I'm going to kill you myself because that's what I said I'd do.
Traitorous.
Maybe that's it. Maybe there's another twist in it. We see people sort of being pushed into the water during the trailer, so it's possible the dragons come along and save them. I literally don't know. However, there is a third possibility that it's not a human captive at all. In the books, you'll notice that there's one major plot element that hasn't been discussed in the TV show at all, but it would massively shift the balance of power in Cersei's favour. Now, in the books, Euron finds a horn that allows him to control dragons. He finds it in Old Valyria, apparently on his travels, and he does actually blow it in the books, and it kills whoever blows it. So he's got one of his minions to do it. But it would allow him to control dragons. Now, that would be invaluable to Cersei, the ability to control Daenerys' dragons against her.
Absolutely, and also the fact that it kills whoever blows it. Like, you just know that Cersei would probably love, not just to get some minion to do it, but to do it as some form of revenge. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think about someone like Tyrion, or in that kind of status, the narrative options that would give, regardless of the fact of it will control Daenerys' dragons, her one massive strong point, mm-hmm. Everything that makes, it's kind of the MacGuffin. That's kind of the ultimate MacGuffin, really. Mm-hmm. To bring that in now would kind of be amazing. Everyone would go, oh, of course, that's to beat the dragons, because they can't do it any other way. But it's also necessary, because currently Daenerys looks pretty strong. And if you take away these things, and it's again that balance of power which Game of Thrones is so good at and has constantly played with and messed with our expectations, if they did introduce something like a dragon horn, again, they would need to mess with that. That would need to be mixed with a sort of a twisted murder. It would have to be changed in some way because of what we expect from the show. So narratively, great device, but would need to be treated with extreme caution.
I'd love to see Euron turn up with both Tyrion and the horn as well.
Ooh.
I mean, I think he'd get a pretty good wedding for that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he probably would.
There would be no choking on the wine at that one. Some plus ones, yeah.
Yeah, there would be plus ones. There'd be great music at that wedding. Yeah, maybe Ed Sheeran would play.
Oh, well, let's hope not. So that's it for the possibilities. I mean, there's all sorts of gifts he could bring, but I think those are the main contenders. Yeah. Go on, just a snap judgment. Which one do you think it's going to be?
I think it might be the dragon horn. I want it to be the dragon horn. Yeah.
I think Euron's going to go for Tyrion, and he's going to have to settle for the other captives. That's me. So I'm sort of sitting on the fence between 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's also rational. I think you're probably right.
I think it'd be brilliant if it was Tyrion, though. Yeah. So I'll nail my colours to that mast to give it the nautical theme it deserves.
Let's see.
Okay, thanks for listening. If you want more Game of Thrones stuff, then just hit subscribe, and there'll be loads coming up throughout Season 7.